I don't want you to think that you don't deserve more, because you do. You're used to playing small. You can't think you're doing somebody a favor by charging them little to nothing or trying to save them money. You know that that's not sustainable. The goal is not for the client to smile at the price. Most creatives think it is a pricing problem, but it's not. You're the person who chooses the audience that you serve. So let's just say you have $5,000 in expenses. If you make $5,000, you didn't make $5,000. You made $0. You're having to do 25 projects in a month just to break even. If you feel more drained than you feel fulfilled, you have either people who can't afford it, or you have people who could afford to pay more, and you just don't have the confidence to charge enough. Have you ever finished a project, delivered the final result, or even you were just in the middle of a project and you felt like, I'm not getting paid enough for this, or something doesn't feel right? They got the transformation or they got the result, but I just got relief. You feel like what you do is helping people reach higher levels. You helping people get exposed to completely different industries, completely different people who they never would have imagined being able to reach because of the work that you've done for them, or because of the transformation that you helped them get. But after all is said and done, you don't really have anything to show for it other than being able to pay your bill for this week, or being able to say that you did a good job. Well, what if I told you that there's actually a few ways that you can fix that? And what if I told you that all of those feelings that you're having are signs that you've actually been undercharging for your work? Because actually, there are 5 signs that I've seen, 5 common signs that I've seen, that you're still undercharging for your work. You realize as you're looking at the final invoice that all of those extra revisions that you gave, all the extra hours that you put in, all of the quick favors and all of the additional stuff, you basically just worked for minimum wage. You basically just had a job with a boss that you no longer have anymore. And I don't want you to think that you don't deserve more, because you do. But the thing is, it's not that you don't deserve more, is that you're used to playing small. You're used to getting less than what you deserve. And not necessarily at your own fault. It's technically because of how the system has raised us. But in the same sense, we call it playing fair, we call it building trust, or we even consider it sometimes it's like getting exposure. And I want you to understand something, because I feel like deep down, you know that that's not sustainable. You know that there's more out there for you. You know that there's people out there that's willing to pay you what you deserve. Most creatives think it is a pricing problem, but it's not. It's actually a positioning problem. And so in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 5 signs that you're still undercharging and how you raise your price. So let's get into it. My name is Morgan Winfrey, founder and owner of Just Win Media, and I help creative entrepreneurs build profitable and sustainable businesses on purpose so that they don't have to always be present to actually make money. Sign number 1 is that you feel resentful after a good project. So you love your clients, most of your clients anyways. You love your clients, but when a project wraps up, you feel more drained than you feel fulfilled. And let me tell you, that's the first red flag. Because if you feel more drained than you feel fulfilled, you've undercharged for what it is that you do. You've undercharged for the transformation that you provided. And a lot of times, what we tend to fail to realize is that the goal is not for the client to smile at the price. The goal is for us to be able to smile at the price that we give. I'm going to say that again. The goal is for us to be able to say a price and smile, and not to say a price and the client smile. They are going to be happy that you are willing to help them solve this problem. Now, whether or not they can afford you helping them solve that problem is the biggest thing. Because here's the thing, underpricing does not do anybody any good. It doesn't help your customer, and it doesn't help you. When you underprice, you're resentful of your customers because you feel like they should have been willing to pay you more. But it's your fault that you didn't price it high enough for you to actually be happy to do the work. We say we didn't get paid enough to do this, but you're the person who sets the price. You're the person who sets the rate. You're the person who chooses the audience that you serve. So, yes, if you choose an audience that cannot afford more than a certain amount of money or cannot see the value of something past a certain dollar amount, then you can't get mad at your clients for not being able to pay you or not wanting to pay you. You have to understand that not everybody is your customer. Not everybody is your client. Even if you love working with them, even if you love them as people, you have to understand that you have to be happy with the price that you give. If you don't start off with a price that makes you smile when you say it, then you're not charging high enough. And if you feel like you got to justify it, that means you don't feel like the number that you're saying, you don't feel like you can provide that type of value. You don't think that the result that you're getting them is that valuable. You feel like you're just trying to get over on them. And that's a mindset shift that you have to have. You can't think like you're doing somebody a favor by charging them little to nothing or trying to save them money. You're saving them money in the long run because you don't have to worry about this thing breaking down or this thing falling apart or this thing not doing its job or whatever the case may be. You're saving people money in the long term by paying now. But if they pay the full price now, they don't have to pay the long term amount. If they choose to wait and pay long term, then you have to spend more money that way. But a lot of times we don't have a pricing strategy in place because we've only learned how to do things in packages. We only know about a bronze, silver, and gold package, and none of that actually communicates any type of value at all. So we tend to pigeonhole ourselves and then get mad at our customers because our customers didn't pay us the money that we ultimately want to make. We wish a customer would pay $5,000 for what it is that we do, but we only charge $750 for it or $500 for it. We literally want somebody to be willing to pay 10 times what we currently charge, then they be mad when they don't pay the 10x price. If you didn't offer it, then they don't know that it's there for them to purchase or there for them to take advantage of. So if you're mad at your customers, if you feel yourself mad after a project or resentful after a project or just drained after a project rather than being fulfilled after a project, that's your first red flag that you're undercharging. Sign number two is that you're booked out and barely breaking even. If your calendar is full and you don't have no money to show for it at the end of the day, if you've been spending late nights, if you've been working overtime, if you've been spending 12-hour days at the shop, if you've been doing all of the things and your calendar is booked out, you don't have no free days, you only have the weekends to really just spend time with your family or spend time with yourself just to relax and decompress. If you are booked out and you are barely breaking even, that's a sign that you're undercharging. If you understand what breaking even means you got back to zero. You spent this amount and you made this amount. You didn't make no more, you didn't make no less. You made exactly the amount that you spent or that you will spend in the month. So let's just say you have $5,000 in expenses. If you make $5,000, you didn't make $5,000. You made $0. You didn't make any money. Now, if you want to profit $5,000, then you need to make $10,000 in order for you to profit five. You have to understand that math needs to actually math. If you don't understand what breaking even is, if you don't understand how much money you're actually spending versus how much money you're making, and if you do know how much money you're spending and you know how much money you're making and you're only breaking even, you're just keeping your head barely above water. You're barely making ends meet. You're only making enough to pay your bills. You're only making enough to cover your overhead. You're only making enough to pay for that subscription. You're not making enough money because you're not charging enough. You're having to do 25 projects in a month just to break even. That means that either you have the wrong target demographic that you're targeting, You have people that cannot afford you at your full price, or you're not charging enough to people who will be willing to pay more. You have either people who can't afford it, or you have people who could afford to pay more, and you just don't have the confidence to charge them enough. You have to understand that you need to charge enough for you to pay your bills, pay yourself, cover overhead, cover taxes, and possibly even pay employees to reinvest back into the business is what we also call it. If you don't have that in mind, if you don't have that in place, you're undercharging. And this kind of leads into sign number 3. You keep attracting customers who love your work but can't afford it. This goes back into another video that we created last week or a couple weeks ago, where we're talking about your marketing. If you don't understand who you're talking to, if you don't understand who your audience is, and you're being a generalist, or you're just selling what it is that you do instead of the solution that you solve, you keep attracting people who only are able to afford the small thing that you're offering, or the small service that you're offering, or the small product that you're offering. They're only able to afford something slight, or they might not even have money at all. They might be people who are just too lazy to do the work, or there might be people who are bad at budgeting, or they might just be people who are just bad with money, or just don't have any money. And if you keep attracting people who don't have any money, then you're either targeting the wrong audience, your messaging is off, you're not saying the right things, you're not doing the right things, or the prices that you have are so low that people feel like they can bargain. People shouldn't feel like they can see your price and then I think I can get them to do it for cheaper. That's not how you want people to consume your business, because your price is also indicative of your brand. Your price is also indicative of your quality. So if you consider yourself to be one of the best in the business, but your prices are dirt cheap, how can you be the best and be the cheapest? It doesn't make sense. Nobody does that. The best people, luxury, the best, the high class, the high end, everything like that. Everybody who considers themselves the best generally have the higher prices. It's just how it is. It's just how it works. You have to elevate your messaging to speak value, not mechanics. You have to sell the destination, not sell the plane seat. And sometimes that means elevating your messaging to the point of this will not work for you if you are XYZ. And this is why you got to get specific on who you're talking to. This is why you got to know who you're talking to. Because I'm not talking to the people that fit into these categories. If you have these mistakes, or if you've been doing these things, or if you fit X, Y, and Z criteria, then you're not my type of audience. I work with small business owners who are making $10,000 or more. So if I'm talking to business owners that can make $10,000 or more, the least that they should be willing to pay is $1,000, because that they at least make 10 times more than that. But if I'm talking to somebody who only makes $2,500 in a month, and I'm trying to sell them a $1,000 thing, I'm taking almost half of their income. So you have to understand that when you are positioning yourself to the audience, if you position yourself to an audience who can't afford you, then it doesn't matter if you raise your prices or not. If you keep talking to the wrong audience, you'll end up being broke, and you'll end up continuing to undercharge, continuing to try to lower your price, to keep continuing to try to appease and please people just because you need to pay your bills, instead of charging based off of the value that you help people get. If you know what you do can 10x somebody's business, or 10x somebody's lifestyle, or 10x somebody's health, or 10x somebody's relationship, then you charge based on the outcome, not based on what they can afford. Does that make sense? Sign number 4 is you can't say no. Or let me rephrase that. You keep saying yes to protect the sale. Now, what do I mean by this? You don't want to miss out on any type of money. You say yes to literally every project that comes your way. When somebody asks you how much you charge for this, instead of you saying the actual price, if somebody comes to you and be like, how much do you charge for X, Y, and Z? Instead of you saying $5,000, when you know it's $5,000, you like, I can do it for 750. I can do it for 500. I can do it for 350. You literally go for the lowest price because you don't want to say no, but you also don't want to hear no. That's the other thing. You don't want to say no, but you also don't want to hear no. You have a problem with rejecting the things that aren't aligned with your goals, the things that aren't aligned with your brand. I don't do low budget projects. So if somebody comes to me with a low budget, then I can't do your project. I can refer you out to people who can do it, who are willing to do it at that price. But I cannot be the one to do it. And you have a hard time saying, no, I cannot help you at that price. This is the price that I charge to do X, Y, and Z. Or this is the price that the company charges to do X, Y, and Z. If you don't understand that you standing firm on your price will attract the right people and repel the wrong people, then you have a deeper problem that's not pricing. It's a mindset shift. You have to have conviction in the price that you charge. You cannot say that you charge X, Y, and Z and not even feel confident enough to say it. Again, this goes back to the first sign is if you can't smile when you say the price that you say doesn't make you smile, but it makes the customer smile. And they're like, oh, that's it. Or, oh, that's all. You're undercharging and you're doing yourself and your customer a disservice. Because when you are able to charge more, you're able to provide better quality service, a higher quality of service. But when you're only trying to nickel and dime people, when you're only trying to make the sale by any means necessary, but even if that means going down on your price so that you can get it, you're doing yourself and you're doing your customer a disservice. And like I said, sign number 5 was you're afraid of hearing no. Not only are you afraid of saying no, but you're afraid of hearing no. Think of it like this. Business is a game, or sales is a game of no. You want to actually hear as many no's as possible because that is helping you filter out the people that you don't need to be working with. Now, yes, if you are just starting off, then of course it's going to be a lot harder for you to accept no. But in order for me to make a higher dollar amount, I have to be willing to reject a certain number of things. It's easier for you to make a lot of money in a small amount of time than it is for you to make a little money over a long amount of time. If you're willing to take 100, $250 clients, you're only making $25,000. Versus if you said no to those 100 to get to one $25,000 client, you just need one person to say yes to make that $25,000. You can go through a bunch of no's. That means that's a bunch of work that you don't have to do. But because you are more concerned about getting the yes than hearing no's, I'm looking forward to somebody saying no because that's work that I don't have to do. If somebody says yes, then I actually got to do the work. But if somebody says no, cool, because all I'm doing is offering you a solution. If you don't see yourself as offering a solution, making somebody's life easier, making somebody's life better, if you don't see yourself as that, then it's harder for you to grasp the concept of hearing no. Because people aren't saying no to you. They're saying no, not right now. They're saying no to the offer. Maybe the offer isn't enticing enough for them to say yes. Maybe how you positioned it didn't give them the clarity that they needed to say yes. Maybe they just aren't in the position where they can put out that type of money right now. Maybe you didn't downsell. Maybe you didn't offer enough options. Maybe it's not the fact that you are the one they're saying no to. It's just, I don't see how that can help me right now. I don't see how that can fit right now. I don't see how that can make me more money right now. So, no, it's not the fact that I don't have faith in you. Because I can see it from your work. I can see based off of like you're a good human being. I'm not saying no to you. I'm saying no to the offer. And I think a lot of us as creatives don't understand that people aren't saying no to you. They're saying no to the offer. And the quicker you can grasp the fact that business is a game of no, because not everybody's your client. Like I said, not everybody's your client. So if you hear no, you can hear it in two different ways. No and taking it personal, or you can hear no and be like, okay, is there something about this that is making you say no? Is it just no personally? Like, I just can't do it right now. I can't afford it. I can't see how this can help me. Or is it the offer is not compelling enough? The offer is not enticing enough. What would make this offer better? What in this would you consider changing? Like, what in this are you saying no to? If you're willing to actually ask more questions from the no, or even just accepting no and going on about your day, because it's like, my price is my price. I'm not necessarily trying to negotiate with you, but if I'm really attached to not necessarily getting your money, but helping you achieve a certain outcome, the money is a byproduct. I just want to help you achieve a certain outcome. So what can we do to make this to where you will say yes? What would turn it into a yes? What is making it into a no? Because if it's just me, then I can just replace myself with somebody else, have them tell you the exact same thing, and if you say yeah, it's cool. But if it's the offer itself, then let's fix the offer. Let's revise the offer to fit you so it can, because then I'm not giving you a discount on the same offer. It's actually a completely different offer that I've now created into a new offer to fit you. I personalized it to you, which then we can turn around, reverse engineer, and be like, hey, this offer worked to help them say yes to a $25,000 thing. So let's take this same $25,000 thing and see what components in this can we take into the original offer, or should this be the new offer? So that's the type of thing. It's like, if you're not willing to hear no, then that's a sign that you're undercharging, because you're too attached to them saying yes rather than looking forward to people saying no. So hopefully that helped you. Hopefully you can take some of these things and it resonates with you, because a lot of creatives are too scared to charge what it's worth. And you don't have to be afraid to charge what you're worth if you understand the value that you actually provide. You have to understand who you are based on whose you are. And when you realize whose you are, meaning God, you'll realize that there's nothing that you can't do. And that includes raising your price. So the things that you want to do in order to raise your price, you want to think from a place of value, not from a place of deliverables. The deliverables are important, but don't think about giving more when you increase your price. If I gave you two offers, one offer is $10,000. It comes with 100 videos. It comes with 75 worksheets. It comes with 25 calls, and it comes with an hour of my time. Versus offer number two, which is $100,000, one video, one call, one worksheet. Which one would you be willing to pick? You more likely pick the one that has you do the least amount of work. That's going to give you the same result. So you don't necessarily have to give more to charge more. You just have to position the value over what you're getting. The value comes first, then lead with what people will get. Because 10,000 is cheaper than 100,000, but I'm having to do way more work to be even able to get a return on this investment instead of this one. Like one hour video versus 130-minute videos. Like, if that was more impactful or more, and some people may be willing to take the $10,000 off. It comes with all these things that you got to go through. You can go through on your own time and everything like that. That's cool. Or you can just go through this one, and it's 100,000. Take that. Either one, I'm cool either way. And if you say no, they even have another offer. It's like, well, if neither one of these work for you, got this work for $100. You can do that. That's cool too. I think a lot of times we don't realize that we can have multiple offers. We can have multiple offers that we offer to people that still solve the same problem. It just delivers it in a different way. So to raise your price, I want you to think about it like this. The first thing that you need to do, figure out what price, what it is that you do for the offer that you provide or the offer that you give. Figure out what price makes you smile. And I'll get into the specifics of it at another time. But what price would make you smile for what it is that you currently do? Start with that. Look forward to no's. You need to look forward to people saying no. When people say no, that's not any discount to you. It's just they are not the customer for you. Say no to more projects. The more you say no to projects, the more you're able to filter out what is a good client, what is a client that's for you versus somebody who's not for you. If you say, and you don't have to necessarily say no, just say the price and leave it at that. Say the price and shut up. It's like, it's $5,000 and be quiet. It's $50,000 and be quiet. It's $100,000. Be quiet. Don't feel like you have to justify. And if somebody says, well, I'll think about it, it sounds good and everything like that, then that's when you go into objection handling. If people don't have objections, if people just are quickly willing to pay the price, then you probably still aren't charging enough. You have to be willing to actually have the conversation. You have to be willing to have those tough conversations, to have those uncomfortable conversations. You have to be willing to provide people with the best experience that you can possibly do. If you know that it's going to cost you $5,000 to provide this service or to create this product or create this thing, then it doesn't do you any justice to charge anything less than $5,000 at the minimum, because that's how much it's going to cost you, let alone for you to actually do the service or to create the product or to actually get a profit off of what it is. That's not even including profit. That's just to create the thing. That's just the cost of goods, the cost of the service. You still have to add tax. You still have to add on paying yourself. You still got to add on paying employees. You still got overhead you got to think about. You have all these things that you got to think about. So why in the world would you charge what it costs you? That's one of the least amount. That's one of the least effective ways to even price your business is the cost plus pricing model. Cost plus pricing model is just the cost of what it is plus whatever you want to make on top of it, and that in itself is not even the most lucrative or the most profitable way to build your business. You have cost plus, and then you have value based pricing. And value based pricing is based off of the outcome that they want, is the amount that we're gonna charge. So if this is going to help you make $100,000, I can charge you $10,000 for it, because the value of it is the fact that it's going to make you 10 times the amount that you pay for it. But I'm making sure that, yes, I still take into consideration all of the costs and stuff that go into it. But that's just so I know what not to go below. That's just my baseline. Now I get to add, based on this, this covers everything else. Where now I have a baseline of what not to go below. And it's like, this is how much it costs for us to do this. You only have to have explanation to the customer on this side, but this is just internally. It only costs us $5,000 to do this, but we charge $100,000 to provide because of the outcome that it gets. This $100,000 offer helps somebody make $1 million, or help somebody make an extra 50,000, or help somebody make another 100,000. So it's like you have to weigh your options, and so you have to just be willing to see your offer, to see what it is that you do, to see the solution that you provide in a different light. And so, hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully you gained something from it. Hopefully it blessed you. And if you want more content like this, if you want deeper coaching, you want more in-depth coaching on business, on what you're doing, on your creativity and everything like that. If the business side is something that you're struggling with, if the business side is something that you need help with understanding or just need help honing in on, then join the Profitable on Purpose community, where we dive into topics like this when it comes to pricing, structuring your offers, sales, or just even identifying your ideal audience. So if any of that sounds good to you, click scan the QR code or click the link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully this blessed you. Peace out.